Hi, my name is Amy, and today we're going to be talking about shadow work and why it's so important to our self development. Some of you may wonder what is shadow work and why is it so important? Shadow work is basically looking at the darker side of the human psyche. So we're scratching beneath the surface. And that surface being that, society rewards positive behavior. Do unto others as you'd have them do to you. So it's very popular to be compassionate and kind and loving. And society, of course, looks down on behaviors where we're harming ourselves or others. So many of us can be a little bit judgmental and look on the outside and look at other people's behavior and judge them for what they've done because, maybe we tempered ourselves and controlled ourselves. When we get angry, not every single person lashes out physically, and some do. But our society kind of basically locks away those who do lash out in that way. So we tend to stuff down those feelings and we become ashamed and feel guilty about even thinking unkind thoughts or, dark thoughts. And the more that we do that, the more that we kind of lose sight of what it means to be a human being. Like I said, on the surface, there's all those positive, wonderful feelings that everybody wants to be remembered by. We all want to be thought of as a good human being. But, the reality is that we're all capable of making mistakes and doing, things that, like I said, can be harmful to others. So over the years, if you keep that side of yourself tempered down and hidden away, then it tends to build layers. And that's why, it takes some time to peel back those layers and basically come face to face with that side of us that we try to hide from the rest of the world. And it's not necessarily about opening up and on, acting out on, those debased feelings or actions that we think we need to take. It's not about taking action, basically. It's just about acknowledging that we are not a perfect person, that there is a side of us that can be, uncompassionate and unkind and cruel even. But like I said, our society, especially America, really tends to discipline and kind of judge people harshly. So if there's somebody who maybe, on the surface is this great, wonderful person who was very, active in their community and volunteered and, just tried their best to be a great person, but, and kept denying that, they did have, they didn't address those dark thoughts and feelings and just tried to deny them constantly. Eventually, they lose control and they lash out and, can commit a crime of passion. That's happened. I have seen it myself. So it's not that all of us have that capacity or that all of us one day who try to be good are going to lash out, but it's just something that can happen. And it's foolish not to admit that, none of us, have that capacity. We all have the capacity to be harmful and cruel to each other. So all of us, tend to shake our heads and shame and when we see someone on the news who, has maybe committed some crime, maybe it's murder, maybe it's assault. But the honesty is, all of us have that capacity within us. It's just we live in different circumstances. So, like I said, we don't have to act on these feelings, and that's not what shadow work is about. It's about acknowledging that side of us that we try to hide and deny from the rest of the world because we want to be thought of as a good, kind person. So how you do shadow work is really to just, when unkind thoughts surface, that you just notice them and address them. Another way is if there is someone who's really getting on your nerves, and like your pet peeves, for example, that other people do, it's to kind of take a deeper look within yourself and acknowledge that, maybe that person is like holding up a mirror and you're seeing something that in them that you don't like about yourself, and you're denying that maybe you have that same character flaw. So that's kind of what basically shadow work is. It's peeling back the layers of character flaws that all of us have. And by doing that, it really kind of releases, some pressure that we have to be perfect all the time and say and do the right things. We become a little bit more forgiving ourselves when we make a mistake. When we find ourselves, like I said, having maybe a negative judgmental thought about someone, instead of being ashamed, we could just say, wow, admit it, realize that it's part of being human. And that way it kind of releases it, and you don't have to worry about, someone judging you or trying to be perfect all the time. So there's definitely some more stuff. That's just a basic general outline of what shadow work is. But if you're interested in doing shadow work, I definitely would suggest looking into it. I think Carl Jung, as far as I know, has been probably the most well-known name in shadow work. So if you really want to grow as a person, if you really want to, become a better person, more benevolent, if you're on a spiritual journey to enlightenment, then you have to do shadow work. You really have to face that dark side of yourself. So I hope that helps, that little introduction into shadow work. And I hope that you are brave enough to kind of face that dark side of yourself. Don't worry, it's kind of hard at first, but after a while it gets easier. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, happy new year in 2020. And here's to becoming a better, happier person. Thank you. Bye.